Everybody ready here? Cell phones turned on or off? Call the meeting with the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Nothing from side, roll call now.
Martyr,
Here.
Mazer,
Here.
Schneider,
Here.
Sofa,
Here.
Wilson,
Here.
Weaver,
Here.
Zimmer absent.
Make a motion to excuse these absences.
Support.
Mazer,
Yes.
Schneider,
Yes.
Sofa,
Yes.
Wilson,
Yes.
Weaver,
Yes.
Zimmer absent, Martyr.
Yes. All right, nothing as far as non-agenda items from the sideline. City administration, we don't have these in here. So look for adoption and amendment of agenda.
I'll make that motion.
Let's amend the agenda to fix the time, right?
Pardon?
Should we amend it to fix the time on it or no?
Yes.
Yeah, I make a motion, I would change the time from 7 to 4 p.m. Yeah, that's right.
Support.
Schneider,
Yes.
Sofa,
Yes.
Wilson,
Yes.
Weaver,
Yes.
Zimmer absent, Martyr,
Yes.
Mazer.
Yes.
Okay, new business, we have BRT requesting a transfer of the license and a request for the license. Who should we start with?
I'm the city attorney.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You guys- you guys-
See here
I
from
talked
Gadget.
with Jocelyn, I helped with the application,
Okay.
so I'm here representing them.
Perfect. Do you want me to just
Yeah,
give a
go
quick
ahead.
overview? My name's Al Francis. I'm the city attorney for Memphis. As council knows, BRT is a licensee, BRT Capital 3. I'm just going to use the phrase BRT for short. Licensee in the city of Memphis. They're a licensee pursuant to a consent resolution or a consent judgment in a federal court case. They're subject to all ordinances and requirements and everything under the ordinance. Just as a little bit of background, it's my understanding that amendments were adopted, I believe, in April to the ordinance, but one of those amendments provides that, specifically reference the BRT license and provides that if BRT abandoned the license, and I'm not talking about a transfer, but if they abandon the license, if it's terminated, if it's revoked, if they close shop, that doesn't automatically open up a new license in the city. This is a one singular specific license, and I just wanted that to be clear. So under the rules of the ordinance, generally, there's no inherent right to transfer a license, but a request can be made to the city council to transfer a license. So when the city council is considering a request, which is going to be presented to you tonight by BRT, the actual wording of the ordinance is the request shall include all information for the proposed new owners, including stakeholders, as required for a new applicant under the ordinance. City council will consider such transfer to grant or deny such request. In considering a request to transfer ownership, the city council shall consider whether the proposed new owner is suited to operate within the city in compliance with basically state law, but we cited what those laws are. So the reason that there is not a transfer by right under the ordinance is because when you approve licenses under the ordinance, you're approving a specific licensee at a specific location. So it's my understanding that we're not changing locations. We have an approved location, I think it was the old Boomers on the corner. This is a request to transfer ownership of the license. It's not a new license, it's just who is going to be the entity that owns the license. I've had communications with council for BRT. They put together a significant amount of the information requested. There were a few things that I copied the clerk on and that I copied council for BRT on that were required under the ordinance procedure. I don't know if we have documents here that I think BRT is going to provide in response to those. I'll call them checklist or punch list type items that they had to provide. But basically that's it. BRT is looking to transfer to 222 Biz 2, another LLC. It's my understanding that Just by way of background, the original applicant, BRT, was a single member LLC of Mr. Toma. Is he Mr. Toma?
No,
Right, okay. They'll talk about who the new applicant is and who the owners of the new applicant are. I believe Mr. Toma is one of them. But anyway, it's, so this is a request that City Council has to either approve or deny. Has to consider whether the applicant's suited to operate within the city, whether the applicant has provided a complete application. The City Council's decision can't be arbitrary or capricious, so I would tell you that if there's an inclination to deny it, you need to be clear as to why it is being denied in the record. I'm not so concerned if you're willing to grant it, because I don't think there's anyone who will complain about that. But if the decision is to deny, make it clear as to what your reasonings are for denying the application. So, is there any questions for me? I'm not leaving, so I'll be here if you have any questions. Mr. Weaver.
Is, so we're talking about transferring ownership. So whoever owns that now, the BRT acronym, is transferring that to an entirely different entity.
Correct. It is my understanding similar ownership. It'll be a new name. It's not BRT, and there are, and I'll let BRT speak, but I reviewed the application there. There are different, in addition to Mr. Toma, there's different or additional members to the new applicant. So Mr. Toma would still be part of the license. It's just he brought in partners for layman's term, although that's not what they're called. It's just a different limited liability company that Mr. Toma has an interest in, that he's asking to transfer the license to.
So it's our understanding then, the current ownership is going to be still involved even if you transfer the name.
Yeah, I'll let BRT speak for that, but Mr. Toma has an ownership interest in both entities, correct?
Okay, that's, in other words, it's not changing that much, it's just how it's going to be set up. Okay?
Yeah, and I obviously don't represent either of the applicants, but I would say it's akin to bringing on a partner. Not leaving completely for Mr. Toma, but bringing on a business partner.
And the name will be changed also, or is that?
Correct, it is a different, what's called a different limited liability company. So BRT Capital 3 is the limited liability company that has the license. They're asking to transfer to 222 Biz 2, I think, which is a different LLC that Mr. Toma has an interest in.
So it's the same owner, just a different business name?
There's more owners.
Right, more owners, but
Yeah.
the primary owner is the same owner?
I don't want to use the
Right.
word primary, yeah. They are representing that, yes.
So technically, even if you wanted to, legally, we wouldn't have very little standing in rejecting it anyway, is that correct?
I don't want to say that one way or another.
Okay.
I would say, and again, I don't want to speak for BRT, but I do enough business work that I have some sort of idea, I believe, as to what's happening here. And, looking at the original application that BRT submitted, BRT has several licenses throughout the state. And it may be a situation where that there are partners being brought on for a particular license, being in this case Memphis, that aren't partners in BRT's other licenses and don't have an interest. You have to have a separate entity owning this license. I don't know if that's the reason, but that's what it looks like on paper.
Could you introduce yourself, please?
yeah. Hi, my name is Caitlin Dallow. I'm representing BRT Capital 3 and 222 Biz 2. So what Al said, that is pretty much exactly what is happening. We have partners. When we had applied in December of 2020, it was just Brian Toma on that entity, and then he had added partners and applied in several other cities under that, using that same entity, BRT Capital 3. So this took a while getting the license in Memphis, so by now we wanted to switch the entity because we have new partners and we don't want to mix them up with our other sites and other partners. So we just want to keep everything clean and separate.
Now, as far as the application, everything, operation, obviously location, everything's basically staying the same?
Yes, it'll
As
still be a
you
Joyology.
proposed for BRT or Joyology?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, is all the information being changed, is that all in place with the state as well as with us?
Yes.
It is?
Yes, we have submitted everything to the state already. The partners are already on that LLC, so once we apply to the city, then they'll be on with the city and the state.
In the new partner, the company name again?
The company name is 222 Biz 5. So 222, I'm sorry, 222 Biz 2.
222 Biz 2.
Biz 2.
Like number two,
Is
number two.
B-U-S?
BIZ.
B-I-Z.
Yeah, and then the number.
So
So,
we're not really, we're adding new members, but the same,
mhm,
Mr. Toma is still the primary, the main stakeholder, right?
correct. So he's adding 2 more partners, 2 more stakeholders to that LLC.
Can I put it in a simple first? So we have.
Can you
here-
say who you are, just so for the minutes? Can you give your name for the minutes?
Oh, okay.
Oh, no, just give your name.
My name is Mason Iyar. I'm Anis's dad. I'm sure you guys know him. He's been here a couple of times. So there's 2 entities. The first one applied for the license. It has Brian and partner. The second one, yeah, this one. So the partner didn't want to get in here in Memphis.
Okay.
So we bought their share. But we cannot stay with them because, it's not fair to have them all under us for the same corporation. So this new entity has Brian and us instead of Brian and the other partner. This is all about, like, there's nothing changing. The building, the license, everything is the same.
So this is Brian just taking on another partner.
Right.
Exactly. It's business thing,
I'd also like to add that the building is owned by 35005 Boardman LLC, and that also includes them 3, Brian, Joseph, and Mazanear.
That's who owns the building.
That's who owns
Yeah,
the
we own
building.
the
All 3 of
building.
them
We
already
bought
own
it.
the building.
Yeah, we bought the building.
Is Brian's name still on the license?
Yes,
Will it be on the new license?
yes. Yeah, he will be the primary.
And just like a little info, we just spent $700,000 on this building so far. 700,000, and there is a lot of things still missing, not including inventory. So we're investing in the city, and we hope like we can work with you guys and do something for us and for the city, of course.
Just one question, and now with all the documents to your satisfaction,
I haven't seen, I think there's some supplemental, there's some supplemental information that we had asked for, and I know there's been a packet provided. I haven't seen what's provided. I wouldn't call any of the information that were requested to be like deal breakers, but we did need some more documentation.
so if we go.
But they're not deal breakers.
We okay with the,
Yeah.
She says she has them.
Yeah.
Oh, she
I
has
have them, yeah.
oh, I see,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, for review.
It's all in the checklist.
Thank you very much. So I'll just read so everybody knows. The first item of information that we'd asked for was photocopy of ID, addresses, emails for each stakeholder of the applicant. And so that would be Brian Toma, Mason, and Joseph. And then I had a question about, just to confirm who the actual, whether their spouses were owners or not. That question's been answered. And it looks like the photos IDs have been provided. The second item of information was a designation of the highest ranking representative. They've designated Mr. AR, is that it?
Yeah.
Mr. AR provided his phone number and an email as an emergency contact because we asked for highest ranking representative and an emergency contact. Provided information. I had a question regarding the ownership of the land, because it did show up as the LLC. And she's indicated, she stated that it's owned by 35005 Boardman LLC, and it's the same owners as the business, which is not abnormal to have the real estate and the business. She provided location location map, which is attached. They had to provide a list of other marijuana licenses or permits. The answer to that was it's not applicable. 222 Biz 2 LLC does not hold any other marijuana licenses or permits, which is consistent with what they've told us today, that this will be a single operation only in Memphis. That doesn't mean that Mr. Toma doesn't have an interest in other permits, but those are owned by his other businesses, not this one. And then written consent for the city to inspect the establishment, which has been provided. Those were my items. It appears they've all been provided. I'm gonna give this to the clerk.
So then,
I'm comfortable it's a complete application.
okay, that was my question.
Any other discussion?
Any other thoughts? Anybody else?
Well, as long as the original owner, his name is on there, but if he decides to sell out.
If you're saying if Brian decides to sell out, there's like a 99% chance that will not happen.
Yeah,
But
okay. I just want,
So if
Yeah.
Brian were to sell, it would, assuming that the other partners just filled in, they would likely keep the same name. If they transfer to a different LLC with a new partner, they have to come and ask. But generally, if Brian sells to the two existing partners, there's likely nothing you will ever see, because you're not adding anybody, you're only taking away people. But they are subject, just so everybody, I know this license was awarded under a consent judgment, but they are required to follow all the rules under the ordinance, which includes, I think it's a year license, right? So if there are problems, they're subject to non-renewal and revocation, just like any other license.
So if Brian decided to sell, then he would just be removed from the entity and still nothing would change with the city.
The license was issued to a business, BRT, LLC 3, whatever the number is.
but I mean, if Brian was gone, so would BRT.
No, not necessarily.
No, because we're trying to switch it from BRT to Biz 2 right now, with the other two members added.
They don't need your consent to remove people, they needed to add people. So you are approving essentially this business as it's owned now with the stakeholders. A new stakeholder, they may have to let you know if one leaves and it's just 2 instead of 3, that's not necessarily something I think that the city would be involved in, except on the renewal type thing for the license.
Well, my head is just thinking, if Brian goes, then really BRT goes.
Well, BRT won't have anything to do with this license anymore.
Right.
I know what you're thinking, BRT won the lawsuit.
So, because they're the ones that won the lawsuit, and then maybe a year from now, they won't have any part of it at all.
No, so under our ordinance, this is still the BRT license under the ordinance.
Okay.
It just won't have that name
It just
on it.
won't have the name. It's still the license that was awarded under the consent judgment.
So if the business was to cease and desist in any way,
Completely.
There's no opening.
there would be no other license issued then after that point.
They have to hold on to that.
Well, it's if the license is terminated, right? So they could come and ask again to transfer it to somebody else, and you would have the same sort of discussions you're having now.
But no, you have to have a good reason to deny it anyway, and so far, I don't hear anything.
Any other questions? If not, we'll take a motion to allow BRT to transfer the license to 222 Biz 2.
I'll make that motion.
Support?
Sofa,
Yes.
Wilson,
Yes.
Weaver,
Yes.
Zimmer absent, Martyr,
Yes.
Mazer,
Yes.
Schneider.
Yes.
Thank you, everybody. On new business, we have nothing for me. I have nothing. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Alan, thank you for
Thank you.
attending and taking care of this. Anybody else from Jason?
Yeah, I just want to thank you all for your time, and I know that both sides here went through a lot to get here today to do this, I guess, from what I've heard from Alan, so, and at least it's done, it's thorough, and good luck.
we can open it.
Thank you very much, everybody
Thank you,
here.
everybody.
We appreciate your help. We're gonna be very helpful for the city, and like, we're there anytime. You have Anna's phone number, I can give you my phone number, or you can call me anytime. We like to do something here in the city. Yeah.
Larry?
Nothing other than Jason Kirk, sign this.
Yeah, okay.
That's all I have.
Mr. Weaver? Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good luck to building those,
Thank you.
nice.
Robbie?
Not good. I'm good.
Eric?
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Motion to adjourn.